It's a brand new day.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
How's it going, friends? I'm still gonna get like a t-shirt or hoodie with "You Ain't So Tough" with that bad boy talk on at some point. Welcome back. Welcome back to Football Therapy avec moi, your host Jan. I do hope you're doing well, mate. Really do hope that. It's nice waking up after a 4-0 win. Even if it was against the worst side in the league, it's still nice. You know, it's still nice. Lots to talk about in today's video. Joao Felix, apparently the mood has turned on him in Milan, which is interesting because he's the one I and many other Chelsea fans wanted to keep over Nkunku, and then Nkunku seems to have turned his form around a little bit, slightly better against Villa, a lot better against, again, the worst team in the league, Southampton. But still, why denigrate a positive performance, feeling, and potential developmental exercise in terms of player chemistry, teammate chemistry, etc.? We're going to talk about a bit Joao Felix, talk about Pedro Netto, the striker. We're going to talk about Cole Palmer's form as well. Of course, he did this kind of like, you know, I'll be back. He posted on his social media about, you know, the game and his performances of late. So it's going to be good. Guys, as always, I'm very, very pleased to have you, that's right, you watching, possibly listening, here with me. As always, thanks, man, or woman, for supporting the content. You can do so simply by just pressing like on the video. Just drop a like. Why not, eh? As I break my microphone. Jesus, can you still hear me? Testing, 1, 2. And yeah, man, if you want to subscribe, you're welcome to. And yeah, man, this video is brought to you by Stocks FC, my partner. Lots of fun, Stocks FC. Look at that platform, sleek, bright, strong colours and contrasts. Yes, gives you the opportunity to utilise your footballing knowledge on Stocks FC. It's 18 plus because you put a few quid in because it's a stock market. That's right. You buy shares, stocks in certain footballers. You think, all right, this geezer's going to be on the up, so you buy low, sell high. You can make some money on it, mate. And it's just kind of fun because it's a little bit like, you know, Fantasy Premier League in that sense. Just have a look, check it out. You can do so by scanning this QR code, which I will leave on the screen throughout the entirety of this video, or click the link in the top of the description. Do go check out Stocks FC. Hey, why not? Alright, mate. Let's get into the nitty gritty then, shall we? First of all, I do want to talk about Joao Felix. Of course, he had a great debut for Milan, didn't he? Chipping the goalkeeper. They've seen quotes on football media saying he is as useless as he is handsome. He's a good-looking boy. But on Sempre Milan, after showing what he could do after a dink in his first game, Felix got lost in the darkness that has fallen on Milan in the recent period. In the games that followed that goal, he's lost possession 17 times, 13 times, 8 and 16 times, and 18 times against Empoli. So he's lost the ball for Milan 72 times in the last 5 appearances. Not looking good for Joao Felix. I did want to speak about it because I was thinking about it on my drive home from the gym this morning, like, you know, I tend and I try desperately not to think about Raheem Sterling and what the heck we're going to do with that guy. Not quite the same existential, profound, biblical level of fear that I had when I thought about Lukaku before, which is crazy, really, because for my money, Lukaku is more of an effective asset these days than what Sterling is, and that's no disrespect to Sterling. It's pretty sad what's happened to him. It is what it is. But we've seemingly had these much more two interesting cases in Joao Felix, Christopher Nkunku. Nkunku on more money, probably more money than Chelsea want to play in their new wage structure, at least at base level. But younger players in or entering their prime. And clearly both, you know, not 30-year-old Sterling, 30-year-old Lukaku. These players are different. Joao Felix, football's orphan, just looking for a home, you know, sort of kind of a hipster's player still. I really like him as a player. I think he can get stuck in. I think he has got an instinctive level of artistry, which is rare in football. And, pre-January transfer window, if you said to me, Jan, who goes out on loan, who stays, and you try and fit in, I say get rid of Nkunku, find a way to implement Joao Felix. But my position, well, not even a position, it's fact. Who's the goal scorer out of both of them? Well, it's Nkunku. Guys, many of you watch the content, and I've been saying since long before we signed Nkunku, he is a natural finisher. Yeah, I said in my match review yesterday, or possibly my Instagram, if you want to follow me on Instagram, @FootballYannick, that though Nkunku's quite diminutive in stature, he's a bit like Diogo Jota, like really oddly good in the air, like scoring headers. Like Jota, he's a finisher, he's a goal scorer, he's a really good finisher. Of course, you don't think the same about Joao Felix, but you think Felix might do a bit more unlocking in difficult moments, yeah? So, Nkunku's the finisher, he scores goals, and he demonstrates, again, disclaimer, caveat, yada, 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 worst team in the league. But, like, the goal he scored yesterday, that header, it's brave. It's like, he does the thing in Nkunku. He will try an overhead kick. He'll maybe score an overhead kick. He'll score a Champions League hat-trick away in the Etihad against Man City for Leipzig. He will win the Golden Boot in the Bundesliga despite being out for 3 months and not being a striker. He is a goal scorer. The problem is profiling, fitting him in, and up until recently, what seemed like his attitude, yeah? Like just sort of jogging around, that I shared that meme on my Instagram. Many of you have watched The Boys, the butcher, and he goes, well, if it isn't the invisible C word. And then the caption was when Nkunku plays for Chelsea. And I've always maintained he's an amazing footballer, an amazing finisher. It's just possibly not going to work, which happens all the ruddy time in football. Just look at Man United for the last decade. The amount of excellent players that have gone in and out of there that just didn't do anything, like your Angel Di Marias, etc., Memphis Depay's. So look, maybe we'll make it work with Nkunku. I am especially in yesterday's game. Disclaimer. But he played slightly on the inside, despite being inverted commas left wing. Enzo Fernandez didn't play as advanced. He played more as a 6, which meant that space in that sort of left 8 area could be occupied by Nkunku more. Maybe that's something we can grow off there. I have a feeling Enzo Maresca is just going to keep him in his team because he's like, we need to score goals, and Nkunku knows how to score goals. He's 27 years old. He's a big boy. He's scored goals for long years and years. He's confident in himself. It's up to me to make it work, but it's up to Nkunku to sort out his application. I also said yesterday, attitude's such a big thing. For I'm quite pleased with Jadon Sancho's attitude. I said it in my review. When his teammates don't meet his perfect crosses, which has happened a couple of times recently, he just claps them. He doesn't throw his arms up in the air. If he gets substituted, he jogs straight off. He's like clearly like, right, I'm here at Chelsea. I'm settling. I'm not going to cause a fuss. I'm going to be professional. Probably after the aftermath of, a bad situation at Man United. So attitude's huge, yeah. Attitude is huge. We're going to end on Pedro Netto as a striker for the moment, but speaking of attitude, I want to speak of Cole Palmer. Some people have been frustrated, naturally, because he's set insane standards and he hasn't scored for 7 games now. He hasn't got an assist forever. Now, of course, we saw that stat going around that he'd created the most chances in the top 5 European leagues, but he's got no assists. He should have 7 assists for his expected assists, which would dictate the finishing at the end of his passes, has simply not been good enough. Yesterday was the demo. I mean, I've numptied, captained him on FPL. I thought that we're going to get back to winning ways, which we did, 4-0. And if you tell me that, I'm like, yep, that's going to be a Cole Palmer goal and assist at least, even if it's a penalty. I didn't get anything for my captaining. And he's posted on his social media him crouching down, looking a bit dejected. Cole Palmer, that is. Well done, lads. +3, blue heart. Don't worry, I'll be back. So sort of saying, acknowledging that he's been underperforming for the team. I actually saw a social media post on X suggesting he's making it about himself and not celebrating the team, when actually he's doing precisely the opposite. He's saying, well done, team. You know, we got 3 points, and don't worry, I'll be back to help the team. So I see no issue with his social media post whatsoever. Truth is, he has been off the boil. He has been making good creative passes, and up until these last couple of games, yeah, you can see the underlying numbers, if you look at the underlying numbers, they've been pretty strong from him. But the game against Southampton was a real demonstration of, okay, this guy isn't a robot and he's got inside his own head. Because he was doing silly finishes in moments, and Cole Palmer works organically off instinct. There's like a sort of natural, almost Eden Hazard-y bit to him where he just does what's right. He's not doing that at the moment. And you can tell there's a certain like agitation to his game, maybe giving off not the best, not like, when I say best signals, I mean like communicative, natural. You know, when like footballers on the pitch, they've got good chemistry. They do little like actions and tells that the teammate knows what they're about to do and that. And then you end up, I know Amugu, who came on, tried to take the ball off him, and there was that weird like awkward moment, which was probably the young lad just trying to get on the ball, but also Palmer. You know, in another situation, if he was free-flowing, organic, natural Palmer, you might have let him have it, or it all seemed a bit tense and friction. There's friction there, and of course he missed a couple of chances. He's making the right runs. He's up until the last game and a half or 2 games, he'd been making the right passes. And he just needs a goal, and I reckon if he gets a goal, he'll be like, oh, and he'll be fine again. I offered a similar, like, a thing with Tyreek George. Tyreek George yet to score for Chelsea, but he's demonstrated immense ability. Like, he looks really, really good, Tyreek George. I think he's ready, and I do think, of course, that really great assist he got for Cucurella yesterday will do him the world of good. Apparently, he's the youngest player to assist in the Premier League for Chelsea since Callum Hudson-Odoi in 2017. So that's 8 years ago, you know, that's pretty good. And I feel like when Tyreek George scores his first goal for Chelsea, his erratic decision-making will settle. He's a freaking teenager as well, bro, so there is that. Cole Palmer, not exactly the same, but I feel like when he gets a goal back, he'll settle into his game again. He is intelligent. He does hold on to the ball well, like in moments. And he's not having a disaster class, but what he is doing is not being productive. He can, and he's not. He was before getting frustrated with his teammates, notably Nkunku, like throwing his arms up when Nkunku was actually not meeting any of his passes, and it looked very frustrating as a fan. But now he's like, it's me. Do you know what I mean? Like he was like laughing at himself, like Nizar Kinsella of the BBC in the post-match press conference was referencing this to Enzo Maresca. Like, is it a good sign that rather than like getting his head down or getting angry, he's sort of laughing like, what's happening to me? Do you know what I mean? Look, I might give him Leicester in my FPL, and then I might get him out of my FPL, but I'm not worried about Cole Palmer. He's too good. And great. The good news is we scored 4 goals. That's 4 goal involvements without him. And yes, we need to carry that into Copenhagen, both legs. Yes, we need to do it in Leicester. And who knows, if confidence is back, maybe Palmer's scoring again. By the time we reach Arsenal, which I believe is the final game before the international break, we might be cooking. But what are we going to need to cook? Well, possibly Pedro Netto as a striker. All right then, so Pedro Netto, striker. Yes, people have been like, oh, he scored against Southampton. Well, he scored a great goal, a great finish against Southampton. He got an assist, and of course he got an assist against a very good opposition away at Aston Villa. That's 3 goal involvements in 2 games playing out of position. Now, he had played as a striker before at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it looks like he can really do it here. The sort of quintessential false 9, but slightly different because he's not necessarily dropping into the Roberto Firmino, playing as like a sort of kind of midfielder and facilitating wide players coming in, because remember, he sort of supercharged Salah and Mane, Firmino. Whereas, actually, a false 9 in the sense of not being a conventional 9, but floating all over the gaff. Because if you look at his heat map, it's literally everywhere. Which is great, because it's literally the ultimate and quintessential free roll. So you kind of had the luxury against Southampton at home to have both Pedro Netto and the underperforming Cole Palmer in a free role in the game, right? So, I mean, that won't always happen. I mean, maybe Cole Palmer will have to be more regimented on the right wing again against better opposition, or, who knows, Palmer might get rested for a game and just come off the bench and score. Maybe that will do him the world of good. We'll see what happens, with Palmer. We've spoken about him. But Pedro Netto, I was so gassed, and still am with him. I was so gassed with the signing of Pedro Netto. I thought he's such an elite player. I've seen him torment the likes of Chelsea, but Man City as well. Again, he starts for the Portuguese national team over a great deal of talent, yeah? He'll be starting with Rafa Leao and Ronaldo as the starting front three over the likes of course, Joao Felix, but over the likes of Diogo Jota, who can play out wide as well, and other great Portuguese players. Like, he is a superstar, Pedro Netto, and he works really, 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 really hard, and he won man of the match. Player of the match from Chelsea, at least. I think Cucurella won it on the broadcast TNT, which is great. Both of them, I'm happy for them both to have a respective player of the match, very much so. But I do think, there is something there. Like, he does the work that Jackson does. And simply put, Nkunku doesn't do the work that Jackson does. Although Palmer does run a lot and he's very, very effective for the team, generally, he doesn't do what Jackson does in the front line. But Pedro Neto looks like he can do it. He can run the channels, go out wide, and then opposition defenders do not know what to do with Pedro Neto. So until Nico Jackson's back, and you don't have to rush him back, I'd say just keep Pedro Neto as a striker. Also, Tyreek George, let him hopefully gets a goal in Europe, can really be a solution, and suddenly. We could I understand Chelsea fans are upset. A lot of them are protesting, and that's fine, and I agree with a lot of it as well. There's a lot of frustrating and concerning stuff going on with the club, but that doesn't mean you need or should stop supporting our current team of Chelsea players wearing the Chelsea shirt, trying to qualify for the Champions League. Lest we forget, this is a really acceptable standard for us. Do you know what I mean? We all want to get to league challenges again, but that's not going to happen miraculously now. So let's back the team and let's try and see how we can make this work. Yeah, let's do that. All right, well, let me know your thoughts. Please do leave them down in the comments. Thank you as always for supporting my content. I do really appreciate that from you guys. You can do so by liking and subscribing, and why not check out Stocks FC now the video's ended to have a little browse at that, scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the top of the description. And I look forward to seeing you back here soon. Peace.